What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble and welcome to the warm-up. This is your Brighton match preview, but before we get into that, we are, of course, sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. I just want to quickly thank them for their support, not only in their contributions to the channel, but also the advice that they're giving us. If you are a growing business, they are the people to speak to. They've helped us in terms of advising us and in the next steps and how to incrementally grow and things of that nature. So thank you to them. Their support is absolutely massively appreciated. Thank you also to our Ramblers, whether that be on YouTube or Patreon. Very much appreciated and not necessary, as you know, which we keep talking about, but I'm pleased that you seem to be enjoying the benefits that come as part of that. But even if you're subscribing, is supporting the channel in a huge, huge way. So thank you to everybody. Really appreciate it. What I want to know is, have we calmed down yet? Come back down. Listen, it's not, if you're looking at it outside in, and I've seen all this online about it's a small club mentality and it's tin pot and all this to be so celebratory over one win after 11 games. And I get that. But it's not just the relief that comes with it. It's not just a monkey off our back in terms of getting that first win. So it's not going to keep going on and on and on. It's the way that we did it. I mean, the first half were a write-off, don't get me wrong. And just for clarity, my stance has not changed on the manager. I think that's a great result, and I think it buys him more time. But my stance has not changed, and I appreciate that won't go down well with some people. It's all about opinions, isn't it? That's what it's about. But I do have to give credit where it's due. And that second half performance, well, I know that the McAtee for Brewster change was done earlier than planned. I don't like this pre-planning substitutions malarkey. If Brewster's injured, and we plan to bring him off at half-time because he's injured, why are we playing him in first place? I don't understand that thought process. I'm not saying we should have started McAtee because I personally think coming off the bench inspired McAtee to say, well, you're not putting me on bench again. And I hope that's done the trick. A lot of people saying praise Eki's tactics for bringing him on and changing it up. I understand that. And I don't want to take anything away from him in that regard. So at least for a small period only, and this might be our only window to all be on a similar page where it's just positive and social media hasn't been toxic this week and Blades are agreeing with each other and it's like last season all over again. So yeah, it's been great, to be honest, this week. Everybody's smiling about the football, wanting to talk about it. I've watched more football this week than I have for ages, watching all the highlights, watching all the games, because usually I take my bat and ball home like I'm sure a few of you guys do. So this is, of course, the warm-up. We are looking forward to the Brighton game. Not an easy game at all. I'd read somewhere that Brighton had a lot of injuries. Well, I've just checked, and they don't seem to have that many, which isn't great news for us. But the one thing that we can hold on to, I think, is that Brighton are quite patchy this season. They had an anomaly of a result, which were the 6-1 against Villa. They're a very good team, and I still think they're an underrated side and could well challenge for the top 6 this season, but they haven't quite found that consistency that they'll need in order to mount a challenge for that 6th spot or 7th spot, whatever it is that gets you into Europa now. So it's a ridiculously tricky fixture. We can't think that just because we got one good result against what I thought was a very poor Wolves side, and people said to me, don't you think we made Wolves look poor? I don't really. And again, just my opinion, but I think Wolves had no cutting edge. They're a lot better than the side that turned up at Bramall Lane. But listen, take nothing away from us. We earned that. We earned all 3 points. And again, hats off to Ollie Norwood, who sometimes we're a little bit hot and cold on, or I certainly am. And he came up and did the business when it mattered, didn't he? I thought it was, and I stand by the fact that I thought it was quite, not poor. Poor is a harsh word to say, but I thought he let himself down at points during the game, giving away possession quite easily. And it's just so frustrating to watch at times. But you have to have some coconuts, don't you, to be able to step up and take a penalty like that.
I've got balls the size of grapefruits.
But it got underneath it as well. So, you know, it doesn't have to make me nervous with that. I still probably won't want him to step up and take another if I'm totally honest with you. But we're looking forward to Brighton. Again, it's certainly not one Listen, I'd be a lot bit more comfortable if we were at home. Going to the South Coast is going to be really tough, really tough. We know that Eki were under a lot of pressure going into these 4 games, this sort of short burst of games before another international break. I think he would be judged on these 4 games, and maybe he's done enough with that Wolves result. Maybe that Wolves result takes momentum into Brighton, and I think even getting a point at Brighton would be a fantastic return for us. We are now in this mini league of 4 with Bournemouth, Burnley, and Luton, and all we have to do is finish top of there. So these games against Bournemouth and Burnley coming up are absolutely, they're not 6-pointers, they're 12-pointers. Ridiculous, ridiculous stakes for those games. But we'll cross that bridge as we come to it. We've got Brighton up first. So you know what I'm going to ask you, don't you? And it's a tricky one this time. What's your team? Right, well, I went 4 at the back last time because I think we need to pack midfield. And we need to pack midfield because I think we're outdone for quality in midfield, to be honest. But I liked the fact that we switched back to a 3-5-2. That is our standard formation, if you like. It's the Sheffield United way of playing. I'm going to stick with a 3 at the back. And I'm still going to try and pack it out in midfield. And you'll see how I come to that. But I'm obviously going Wes in goal. I think that picks itself. He didn't have an awful lot to do against Wolves. And I'm still unsure on Wes. Thought his distribution were really poor. And I think he needs to work on that. Lumping the ball high is not the answer for me when we've got 2 short strikers. I understand it to a degree when it's McBurney, but even then we're up against world-class defenders in this league, you know, big units. And I think we've got to keep it on the deck. That's where we're best. That's, you know, quick, intricate passing. So Wes is in goal. I'm sticking with the same back 3 because I'm going to assume that Anel and McBurney don't make this game. I know that Eki says they're close, and we may see him off the bench depending on how close they are. He obviously keeps his cards close to his chest, and rightly so. But I'm assuming that they're out for this game, so I'm sticking with the same back 3. So that's Georgie Baldock, right centre-back, who I thought had a superb game. I'm going Trusty to start at left centre-back because I thought he looked better when he was out on the left. And they're very impressive, I have to say. The man who is slowly, and it's taken him a while, but slowly turning me, if I'm honest. Jack Robinson in the middle of the 3. I can't give him enough plaudits for his performance. I love those tackles, those slide tackles that are timed to perfection. The fact that he smashes players. It's very Sheffield United. And I just hope that he can cut those mistakes out, which he has been doing. He has been doing. It's just something at the back of my mind that I can't shake. And that's unfortunate for me. It's more for me, really, because he's done nothing but prove me wrong. So at right wing back, I'm going Jayden Bogle. I know a lot of people thought he played well. Some people thought he played really poorly. I think he had pockets where he played hot and cold. So I saw him doing well in some spurts. I saw him doing really poorly in other spurts. I'm hoping Jayden can find some consistency, because if so, we know what a player he can be. Luke Thomas, I thought, grew into the game as well. He starts as my left wing back. Although he's not a brilliant left wing back, I certainly think he's the best of the bunch that we've got available at the moment. So I'm comfortable with that back 5, if you like. And I'm moving into midfield now. And I'm going to try something a little bit different. If Brewster's out, I didn't think Brewster had much of an impact on the game, unfortunately. There's a chance that Ryan Brewster comes on and makes more of an impact as a sub. Whether that comes to fruition or not, I don't know. But we can only hope that that's the case. I'm playing, you can't not play Norwood after those heroics against Wolves, and Vinny Souza as a sitting 2. And I'm going to play McAtee and Hamer on their wrong side, if you like. And they're going to be 2 8s, but they're going to essentially move between the lines and become a 10 as well. I think both players can do that. I think if we're under the cosh, then Hamer can slip a little bit further back and McAtee can go and be a 10. So we can pack it out a little bit in the middle. But that's how I want to set up. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that gives us the numbers in midfield. It also allows us to have our 2 more creative midfielders up top. And you can afford to do it because we've only got 1 striker, which is Cameron Archer up top. And Cam needs to be allowed to play on the shoulder of the last man. He can't be a hold-up boy just because he's there on his own. And I'm hoping we can utilise those bodies higher up the pitch So we've got McAtee linking on the right-hand side, maybe cutting in himself onto his favoured left, but also bringing Bogle into the play and maybe getting a cross across the box to a Cameron Archer or an oncoming Gus Hamer. Similarly, you mirror it over the other side where Hamer brings in Thomas. Thomas overlaps, comes to the byline, drags it back for an oncoming McAtee or even better Cameron Archer, just stood in the box waiting for the ball to land at his feet. The potential, now that we've got a little bit of momentum and hopefully a bit of confidence, well, it's exciting, isn't it? Let's be right. We've gone with similar before in terms of 2 10s, but I think they need to be a little bit further back than they have been. Eki played them wide, didn't he, against Wolves, and it seemed to work particularly for McAtee. But I think we squeeze them in a little bit and maybe not have them as offensive so we can pack the middle, but also give him the license to go. I think he's got real potential. And you all know, I think Cam Archer up front, I think he's lethal. And the fact that if he gets an opportunity, he will put one away. Yeah, let me know. Would you go with a different formation with us being away from home? Do you prefer the 4 at the back? Let me know your teams in the comments. And the last thing I'm going to ask you is, what's your score predictions? And I don't know why, but I quite fancy us to nick it. This sounds ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Because you look at Brighton's talent that they've got in the team, Mitoma, Ferguson, just absolute, great play. But I think we can catch him on an off day, And I think our formation lends itself to us getting a result. I'm gonna say 2-1 Blades, 2-1 United, Eki to be manager at year, and we make a late push for Europe. If you do like the content, and you're not already, please do like, comment, subscribe. It's very much appreciated. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards, up the blades! Ramble on!